Some woman rammed her trolley into mine, so I told her what kind of mother she really was. She cried in front of her toddler and walked out like an idiot. Let's back up. At the supermarket, some woman rammed her trolley into mine. I told her what kind of mother she really was. She cried in front of her toddler and walked out. But by Sunday morning, my fiance wouldn't look at me, and her sister was already on the phone. Saturdays are my errand day. One trip, one mood, no time for other people's nonsense. The big grocery store at the edge of town gets crowded after 11, so I go at 9, when the aisles have space and the produce is fresh, and the people there are people who understand the value of doing things properly. That Saturday, I was on my third aisle when a woman came around the corner with her trolley going way too fast. The trolley hit the front corner of mine. Not hard, but enough. Oh, sorry, automatic. Like reading from a script. She started to move past me. I rolled my cart forward and parked it across the front of hers. Excuse me. She looked up, maybe a little younger than me. Yoga pants and a sweatshirt with a stain on the sleeve. A little girl in the cart, maybe 2, holding a banana. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Clearly. Maybe slow down. Maybe look where you're going. Maybe pay attention instead of letting your kid eat in the cart like an animal. Her face changed. Excuse me? You heard me. This is exactly why I don't come here on weekends. People who don't know how to function in a public space, dragging their children around looking like that. I said I was sorry, and sorry doesn't fix anything. You hit me with your cart. Now your kid is staring at her mother, wondering why grown women can't push a basket without crashing into people. The little girl had started to cry. The mother, Hannah, as it would turn out, lifted her out of the cart and onto her hip. Quiet voice, almost a whisper. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with me is that I have to share a planet with people like you. Hannah walked away, left the cart, left the groceries, walked out of the store carrying her crying daughter. I felt fine, vindicated actually. Finished my shopping. A guy in a green apron approached at the deli counter and asked if I'd had an interaction in aisle 4. The woman had been rude. I had told her so. Sir, I'm going to ask you to finish up and head out. Excuse me? The apron repeated it, slower. I left the deli line, checked out, drove home. That night, Iris wanted to know how my day had been. Iris is my fiance. 11 weeks until the wedding. The venue paid for, the suit altered. So I told her my day had been fine, except some woman with no manners hit my cart and got upset when asked to apologize. You asked her to apologize? She bumped me, said sorry like it didn't count, so I made her say it like she meant it. Grant, honey, what did you say to her? Nothing she didn't deserve. Iris let it go. The next morning, the phone rang at 8 from the kitchen. Wait, slow down. What woman? Where? A long pause. Are you sure it was him? Another pause. I'll call you back. She came into the bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed. Hannah is my sister-in-law. Who is Hannah? My brother's wife's sister, the one with the little girl. We were at her baby shower last summer. You met her. None of this rang a bell. Iris, I have no idea who you are talking about. She was at the grocery store yesterday. Came home crying. Mara was over there last night, and Hannah told the story and used your name. You used my name to her. Said your fiance works at the firm. Said it like it was supposed to mean something. I don't remember saying that. She remembers. A breath. Iris, this is one of those things that gets bigger every time it gets retold. She probably misheard or got embarrassed, and now the story is growing. A long pause from her side of the bed. What did you say about her daughter? I made a comment. The kid was eating a banana in the cart. I made a comment. It was not a thing. Grant, did you call her daughter an animal? I said she was eating like one. Those are not the same thing. Iris stood up, walked into the kitchen, got on the phone with her mother. Diane has always been polite to me in a way that felt like a thin coat of paint over something else. By that afternoon, Diane had called Mara. Mara had called Hannah. And Hannah, a person whose entire interaction with me had lasted under 4 minutes, was the center of my fiance's family Sunday. Iris moved into the spare bedroom that night. Said she wanted to think. 2 weeks later, the thinking was done. Iris came back on a Tuesday afternoon when she knew I'd be home. She didn't sit. She set her engagement ring on the counter and said, I need you to tell me right now what you actually said to that girl in the cart. Behind her, through the open front door, I could see her mother in the driver's seat not looking in. And before you answer, I already know. So there I was, standing in my own kitchen with the ring on the counter between us like a grenade with the pin already pulled. I had been thinking about this moment for 2 weeks. I knew what to say. I had practiced it in the shower, in the car, in my head, while pretending to read emails at work. I kept my voice even and looked right at her. She hit my cart. I told her to be more careful. She got emotional and left. That is the whole thing. Iris did not blink. She just stood there with her arms crossed and said, Derek was there, Grant. My whole body went cold. Derek, my best friend, 15 years. He was in my wedding party. He was supposed to stand next to me in 11 weeks and hand me a ring and make a joke in his toast about the time we got lost driving to the coast. Derek was at that store on Saturday. I did not see him. I did not know he was there, but he saw me. He saw everything. Iris unfolded her arms. He called me this morning. Before I drove over here, he told me what he watched happen. All of it. She started listing things and each one landed like a rock hitting glass. Derek told her about me rolling my cart forward to block Hannah's path. He told her about the comment I made about the little girl eating like an animal. He told her that other shoppers in the aisle had stopped what they were doing and just stared. He told her that the little girl buried her face into her mother's neck and that Hannah's hands were shaking when she lifted her daughter out of the cart. Every detail. Things I had filed away as nothing. Things I had already smoothed over in my own memory. Derek had seen them all and reported them like a witness on a stand. Derek was not close enough to hear, I said. He is guessing. He is filling in blanks. He saw 2 people talking from the end of an aisle and now he is building a whole story out of it. Iris did not argue. She reached into her back pocket, pulled out her phone and opened a text. She held the screen up so I could see it, but she read it out loud anyway, slow and clear, like she wanted every word to sit in the room with us. I stood at the end of aisle 4 and watched him tear into a stranger holding her baby. I did not say anything because I was too shocked. I am saying it now. That was not a disagreement, Iris. That was someone enjoying being cruel. She lowered the phone. The kitchen was so quiet I could hear the fridge humming. The thing that hit me was not what Derek said. It was that Derek said it to her, not to me. Not in a phone call where he told me I went too far and I could have said, yeah man, you are right. I was having a bad morning. He did not come to me. He went around me. He called my fiance. He typed out that message and sent it to the woman I am supposed to marry. And he did it behind my back. without giving me a chance to explain. That is what landed. Not guilt, not shame, betrayal. So Derek is part of this now? I said, my voice getting louder. My own friend is calling my fiancée behind my back to poison her against me? I have known Derek for 15 years and he does not have the guts to say this to my face, so he calls you instead? I was pacing now, back and forth in front of the counter, where the ring sat catching the overhead light. I pointed at her phone. That is not honesty, Iris. That is sabotage. That is someone picking a side instead of picking up the phone and talking to me like a man. Iris watched me pace. She watched me point. She watched me make this about Derek, and then she stepped forward, picked the ring up off the counter, and put it in her pocket. Not on her finger, in her pocket, like a receipt she might need later, or might throw away. That is your reaction, she said. Her voice was steady, but there was something underneath it I had never heard before. Not anger, something past anger, something tired. Your best friend tells me what he saw, and your reaction is that he betrayed you. Not that you scared a 2-year-old. Not that you made a woman cry in a grocery store. Not that you stood over someone and said things so bad that a man who has been your friend for 15 years could not stay quiet about it anymore. Your reaction is that Derek told me. She let that hang there. I had nothing. Every comeback I had built, every reframe, every version of this story where I was the reasonable one and everyone else was overreacting, it all just sat in my throat like sand. Iris turned and walked toward the front door. She stopped with her hand on the frame and looked back at me. I am going to my mother's. I need you to not call me tonight. I watched her walk down the front steps and get into the passenger side of Diane's car. Diane still did not look toward the house. The car backed out of the driveway and turned left, and then it was gone. I picked up my phone and called Derek. It rang once, twice. He picked up. No hello, just his voice, flat and unsurprised, like he had been sitting there with the phone in his hand. I was wondering when you would call. Why did you go to her, Derek? Why did you call my fiancé instead of calling me? You have my number. You have had my number for 15 years. If you had a problem with something I did, you come to me. You do not go behind my back to the woman I am about to marry and hand her a reason to leave. There was a pause. When Derek spoke, his voice was calm, almost tired, like a man who had been carrying something heavy for a long time and had finally set it down. Because I have watched you do this for years, and I never said anything. He let that sit. At restaurants, Grant, the way you talk to servers when the food takes too long or the order comes out wrong. At the gym, the way you went off on that guy who left his weights on the rack. At the hardware store that time, with the kid behind the register who rang something up wrong, and you stood there and lectured him until he was red in the face, and the line behind you was 6 people deep. You talk to people like they owe you something for existing in your space, like they need to earn the right to be near you by being perfect, and if they are not perfect, you get to punish them for it. I kept my mouth shut every time. I told myself it was just how you are. I told myself it was not my business. I told myself you would grow out of it, or that Iris would smooth the edges. I am done keeping my mouth shut. My jaw was so tight it hurt. Name one time I was wrong, I said. One time. You are listing all of these situations like I was the bad guy in every single one, so go ahead. Name one where I was actually wrong about the thing I was upset about. The server messed up the order. The guy did leave his weights out. The kid did ring it up wrong. Name one time I was wrong. Derek did not hesitate. Every time. He said it simple, like he was reading a fact off a card. Every single time. Being right about something does not give you the right to destroy someone over it. A woman bumped your cart. She said sorry. You blocked her path so she could not leave. You told her she was a bad mother in front of her child. You compared a 2-year-old to an animal while that little girl sat there holding a banana and looking at you like you were the scariest thing she had ever seen. That is not holding standards, Grant. That is punishing strangers for being human. And the worst part is, you do not even see it. You walk away from these things feeling good about yourself. You come home and tell Iris some woman got what she deserved and you actually believe it. I hung up. I did not say goodbye. I did not have a comeback. I let the phone drop onto the counter and stood there listening to nothing. I walked into the living room. The wedding binder was on the coffee table. Iris had put it together over 8 months. I pulled it onto my lap and flipped past the catering section, past the flower arrangements, until I got to the seating chart, table 1, the head table, next to the groom's spot in blue ink. Derek, best man. I closed the binder and got my keys off the hook by the door. I drove to Diane's house. Diane opened the door and stood in the doorway with one hand on the frame. She did not step aside. She just looked at me the way she has always looked at me, polite on the surface with something harder underneath, except now the polite part was gone. She does not want to see you right now, Grant. Can you tell her I am sorry? I said. That I came here and I said I am sorry and I want to talk when she is ready. Diane looked at me. Not a quick look, a long one. The kind where someone is deciding whether to say what they are really thinking or just close the door and save the energy. She chose to say it. Are you? She asked. Or are you sorry it got back to her? The question hung there in the evening air, and I meant to answer it right away. I meant to say yes, I am sorry. I am sorry for what I did. Not just sorry that people found out, but the words did not come fast enough. There was a gap, maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3, where I just stood there with my mouth half open, and in that gap, Diane got her answer. She nodded once and closed the door. A quiet click of the latch that somehow sounded louder than any door I have ever heard shut. I drove home. I sat at the kitchen table with the overhead light on and the rest of the house dark, and my brain kept going back to the store. Not the words I said, not Hannah's face, the little girl's face. She had been sitting in the cart holding a banana. She had been happy. Her legs were swinging a little bit, the way kids' legs do when they are sitting up high and everything in the world is fine. And then her face changed and her eyes got big and she started to cry and she reached for her mother because a grown man she had never met was standing over her saying things in a voice that made the safe world feel unsafe. The way her chin crumpled right before the tears came. I pushed the image out of my head. 3 days went by. Iris did not come home. On Thursday, I was looking for tape in the kitchen junk drawer when my hand hit a folded piece of paper. A note in Iris's handwriting, the kind she writes in blue ink with her neat little letters tucked under a roll of masking tape like she had put it there and forgotten about it. At the top, she had written, "Reasons I love Grant," with a little underline. Below that, a numbered list. 1, he makes me feel safe. I read that one twice. 2, he is steady. I read that one twice too. 3, he does not let people push him around. I stopped reading. I stood there in the kitchen holding that piece of paper, and I read number 3 again. She had written that months ago, in a moment when she loved me and was thinking about why, and one of the reasons she loved me was the same thing that was destroying us right now. She loved that I was strong. She loved that I stood my ground. She loved that I did not back down. And I had taken that thing she loved and I had turned it into something ugly in a grocery store on a Saturday morning, pointed it at a woman holding her daughter, and used it like a weapon. I folded the note and put it back in the drawer. Then I picked up my phone and called Derek. It rang 3 times. He picked up but did not say anything, just waited. And I realized he was giving me space to go first. I need to ask you something, I said, and I need you to be honest. Is this who I am? Not just the store, all of it, everything you said. The restaurants, the gym, the hardware store. Is this who I have always been? The silence on Derek's end lasted a long time. Long enough that I heard him take a breath, let it out, and take another one. Yeah, man, he said. His voice was quiet. It is, but it does not have to stay that way. I closed my eyes. What do I do? How do I fix this? Derek was quiet for a second. You cannot fix it by telling Iris what she wants to hear. That is what you have been doing your whole life, saying the thing that makes the moment go away. You fix it by actually seeing what you did. Not the version where she bumped you first. Not the version where she was rude and you responded. The version where a stranger said sorry and you decided sorry was not enough. Friday evening, I drove to Diane's house again. The sun was low and the streetlights were just starting to come on. Iris was already on the front porch, sitting in one of Diane's wicker chairs with her knees pulled up and a sweater wrapped around her shoulders. She did not stand up when she saw me. She just watched me come up the walk with a look on her face that was not angry or sad, but something in between. I sat down on the step below her, not next to her, below her, not because anyone told me to, but because it felt right, and maybe because for the first time I did not want to be at eye level with her having an argument. I wanted to be below her and listen. For a long time, neither of us said anything. Iris spoke first. Mara told me Hannah has not gone back to that store. Her voice was calm and even, but there was weight underneath every word. She drives 20 minutes to the one across town now because she is afraid of running into you. A grown woman